And we are going to go ahead and get over to our next host. Ron, are you there now?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Sure can hear you. Okay, so now we are
Okay.
about to talk about cryptocurrency. So those of you who are listening in, it is Financial Friday, and we're going to make some money today. So how you doing today, Ron?
I'm well. I'm well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. We just had a really great show talking about investing with our new personality. I got a good interview and we talked about some great stuff. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say because you know what my question is going to be at the end. So I'm going to let you go ahead and do what you do. What you sharing with us today?
Same as always. Just gonna do well. It used to be. I guess we were doing bi-weekly. Now it's going to be a monthly roundup of what we have going on in the crypto markets. Kind of just give people an idea of where everything's going, what it's done over the past month, and what we're looking forward to in 22. 22 should be a very lucrative year for some of the investors in cryptocurrency, especially some of the early adopters. So that's kind of what we're looking into.
Okay.
But did you have any questions first? I think we usually always start with a question, but if you don't have any, I can just jump right in.
Well, I just want to say I am still stuck in that ADA. I think I bought too high. I see it going up and down, and I'd be so irritated because it went up past where I bought in at once, but I don't know what time of day it was. I wasn't online at the time, but I saw it in the high low thing, and I'm so mad I didn't get a chance to cash out then. And so I'm just stuck in and out of this muddling around in the bottom.
Right, right. Well, the one downfall to this being a radio show is that I can show you the charts and whatnot, but it would really be great for me to be able to show the charts to the listeners, so that we can give you an idea of what's kind of going on in this consolidation period with ADA. Let's just touch on that first. I think that's really been the biggest alarm for most investors is that ADA just has been underperforming compared to what people thought it would. So what we've been going over in the group as of late is that
I do have the
we
capability to go
were
live if you want me to.
it what I'm saying is I'm not getting a lot of I want to get my other computer next time so I can show the charts. So this
Okay.
computer is just not once I get it on the screen and start broadcasting, it's going to slow down, and that'll just kind of eliminate the point. So I'd rather just speak to you in this case. But currently, for the majority of the people who are early in investors in ADA, just quite frankly, we're ecstatic. We got in under 50 cent. It's currently trading at about $1.25 now, so we're up 3 times. So we have 3x currently. Well, not necessarily 3x. We've maybe 1x from that point. But when it was at its all-time high, I believe it reached about $3.10. So we had more than 3x at that point. And a lot of us took profits. A lot of us were encouraging others to always take profit when you have a certain point that you like to reach. For us, we like to 3x our money. We put in $100, we get to we get to $400 when we take our $100 out. So we're left with our $300. So that's kind of our strategy in investing. We pull out that initial investment and then we use that to then move on to the next project. So we're kind of just dipping in, getting our profit, getting our initial investment out, and then we're moving that to another one. So we're just piggybacking off of different projects. But with ADA, I would just beg a lot of the ADA followers to just bear with ADA. The Sunday that just passed on the 5th, they released their first DEX, which is a decentralized exchange. So a lot of people that are familiar with the cryptocurrency market understand that for an asset to sort of take off, it really has to have an exchange to be able to move its asset with. And so over the weekend, Sunday Swap released their first beta test run on the decentralized exchange that they'll be using. And for Cardano, that's like huge news. What tends to happen, and we spoke about this last time, is that when ADA is at its all-time high, that's when everyone's calling me and asking me, where do they go buy it at? But what happens is that that's usually what puts you in the situation that you may have found yourself in. You're buying at the top, and then it sort of retraces itself back to a consolidation period or point, and then the people then look back at us and they're like, well, damn, what happened? Well, what's happening is that you're kind of missing out on the fear and greed index. When there's fear in the market like there is right now, everyone's a little nervous. this is actually when you should be thinking, damn, this is when I should be getting the most phone calls. But what tends to happen is this is when I get the least phone calls because everyone's down. The market is kind of looking like it's in the red. And what happens is people then start that sort of motivation and that momentum starts to decline. And well, that's right when things start to take off. And as we're taking off, what then starts to have is that people then start to FOMO in, or they have that fear of missing out. So then they start to overbuy. They'll have a point, hey, okay, I'll get it at 175, but then they miss that, or I'll get it at one, and then they keep going up and keep going up, and now you've lost your position. So the key to kind of investing, and I didn't get to hear Carter's portion of the show, but I definitely will go back and listen to it once it's posted. But it's really getting in early, having a plan and understanding what you're going to do with that plan, and then executing it, because we can all have a plan, but if you're not going to execute it in the manner that you set it up, then you're sort of defeating the purpose. And that's really what happened here with ADA. And I've had this conversation with quite a few people, a lot of which they're up, and so they don't have that much of a fear. But I do have some that were sort of in your boat, and they got in a little later, and now it's like, well, what the hell? Well, I would just say, if it's something that you feel that you can't stand to wait maybe a year or two, then you may want to get out. And there's some other things we can start looking into that are at this point taking off. Gaming for crypto is right now the hot ticket, along with NFTs. But for the gaming side, I'll get to that on a later run. But does that kind of clear up what you were asking about as far as ADA is concerned?
Yeah. And the thing about it is because I do know a little bit about investing from before when I was doing the Forex market. What I should have done was put, what do you call that thing where it trails up? So as it went past where I invest, they do have that in regular stocks, right? I only know about the Forex market for the most part, but where it trailed it up, I should have put that thing. So when it went up, I could have took my profit, and then I wouldn't have had to worry about it going down so far.
Right. Well, what you would put is a stop loss to prevent it when it's coming down. But right. But is that what happened? Is that you just didn't catch it when it started coming down? Is probably what happened.
I didn't catch it going upward. I bought it because at the time when I got in, when I talked to you, like I was telling Carter, I have so much stuff going on until honestly focusing on the market is not something I get a lot of time to do. I actually have a reminder set on my phone to check my accounts. And then when I get my dividend payouts, I go and I check and see what all is going on. So I don't get to actually do it like, I necessarily probably need to. And so I bought it. I didn't put anything on it. I just bought it because you said, well, you could get it and ride it out. And so I'm like thinking, okay, I'll get it and ride it out. But I'm thinking along the way, I'm going to be able to take some gains and then it'll drop, because I know how the market goes up and down. That's what it does. And so I figured I would get out at a certain point, and then it would probably drop and I get back in and, make some more money back and forth like that. But I got in too high and I didn't catch it when it was at 238 or whatever it was. You said it went up to 310 once?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't see that at all.
What it sounds like is that you just didn't execute your plan. When you mentioned that you didn't have your stop loss, correct? So it was like, you set up a plan, you had an idea of what you want to do. Now, I would sort of add to the context of this is that when I first mentioned this to you, I asked you like, hey, are we able to invest something that, you don't need to look at for a while, or is this something, so I kind of asked, like, because that then dictates the asset that I'd sort of point you to. But if you're thinking, okay, I want to get in, I need to make money right now, well, then I would just definitely tell you Cardano's not the asset for you.
Well, see, my thing was not necessarily, I can leave that money right there. That's not a problem because it's sitting in there anyway. That's not the problem. I think the issue with me is because I do have a little drop, how a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, because I have that little bitty drop of knowledge. I know that I could be making money on these highs and lows in between. So whenever I see it going from 117 up to 198, I know if I had invested in that, I could have made some money right there. Even if it's just a little bit before, when you can make money on those ups and downs. And so as I see it doing that, I'm sitting here like, man, I could have made some money on that, but I'm sitting here and I think I bought in at 217. I'm sitting here at 217. I can't do nothing but just wait for real.
And see, that's really the thing there. Then that's something that I'm glad you mentioned. See, I personally have never bought Cardano over $2, but every time it drops under $2, I continue to buy more. So all I'm doing is accumulating. I'm not selling. I'm not taking profit off of it. You know, and actually it's staked. So Cardano as an asset is actually the largest, if I'm not mistaken, staked asset, meaning people or the people that invest in Cardano are actually the believers, and they're willing to say, okay, here's our, you know, we're going to buy your asset and we'll wait. Now, the reason we're doing that is, and this is something I tell people is if I told you today you can buy $100 bill for $2, would you buy it? And
Yeah.
most of the time, everyone comes back and say, hell yeah. I said, but the caveat to that is that you'll have to wait, let's say 4 years for that $100. Are you willing to do that? And that's where it kind of gets dicey. Because,
well, I'm not gonna wait four
people,
years for $100, but I would wait 4 years if I bought like 10 or 12 or 20.
Well, I've done the numbers. In 4 years, I'll probably have close to 100,000 ADA in 4 years. So personally, it's great for me, you know, for ADA to stay around that $2 range because I'm accumulating it. But if you're looking to say, okay, I want to actively earn, then this is probably not the asset for you. So, you know, that kind of covers Cardano, and it kind of covers the crux that I think a lot of people are in as far as crypto is concerned, because they see all this news and they're hearing all these people getting rich. But what they're not taking into account is that those people that are getting rich in this cycle, because this is actually coming to the end of the bull run for this cycle, are the people who invested back in 2017, because that's when they were buying Cardano at 5 cents.
Oh, I wish I had that.
That's when they were buying Sol. That's when they were buying Sol at like $2. That's when they were buying Ethereum at $400.
Wow.
You know, so what we try to tell people is that if you're going to get into crypto, you have to understand the cycles of crypto.
So
cryptocurrency runs in a.
Before you take off too much, I think we have a question for you. Carter, did you still have a question?
Yeah, I just want, I mean, how you doing, Ron? I was just.
How are you doing, sir?
Good. My question is, I mean, I know you, it seems like you're real, and I think you've done your homework extensively on Cardano, right? ADA.
Yeah.
And you talking about the bull run and it's almost over. And I'm actually one that's in XRP right now. So.
Yeah, one of my other faves.
Yeah, one of my faves, right? We had a guy that's telling me that he was trying to tell me on Facebook that it was a trash coin, and I knew that he didn't understand it. He didn't know nothing about it. But anyway, what's your take on the regulations so far as crypto, and when do you think, or what do you think about this whole lawsuit with XRP and it being settled with the SEC and us moving forward as holders?
Well, I mean, that's, first of all, thank you for asking. That was a great question. Let's sort of take this one by one, because I think you have a couple questions. It's not all into one. So for one, XRP, if people aren't familiar, is just another asset that in this case is doing a lot of different things in payment systems. So it has its own blockchain, it has a payment system that they're working on, and it has a huge community. So when I'm looking for assets, that's actually something that I really look for, all those things that they have. The one thing that a lot of people are concerned about is that SEC sort of dealing that they're having going on right now. They're doing an investigation into XRP, and it's really just to see ultimately, like we know, should we begin tax on our crypto? I'm not going to break down the case in itself, but ultimately there were some mishandlings that the owners have been caught doing, and that's really where you see a lot of the FUD that comes with XRP. So for people who are always constantly talking down on XRP, they either have a big issue with the development team or the people who are running it, because the gentleman who runs, and I can't just pull his name out the air, but he's actually been involved with about 3 or 4 cryptocurrencies. And what has been his common trend is that while those boats are sinking, he wasn't the captain that stayed on the ship. He literally pulled his profit and jumped ship. So that's really the fear that the investors have in regards to XRP, is that we really just don't trust them. As far as the assets concerned, great project, great technology, great blockchain. But it's really dealing with the people who are running the business that you kind of get that FUD involved with it. We're sort of starting to deal with that exact same thing with Cardano on this side. And the one thing that I've learned sort of extensively through this year is that I have to stop falling in love with certain assets. I have to fall in love with making profits. I have to fall in love with making smart decisions. And I have to have a great plan that through that love for that plan, I'm going to execute. So in my terms for XRP, I tell people that same story. Hey, you want to buy $100 bills for $1? You may want, I mean, because right now I consider XRP and Cardano as two of the most underappreciated assets right now. So those are two that every week I'm kind of dollar cost averaging it into. You know, I have a set amount that I buy into each, and every week I'm sort of pulling that trigger up until the point they reach for XRP $1 and for Cardano $2. But if the goal, you know, at this point is to say, well, what's going to happen? I think this SEC sort of regulation deal that they're dealing with XRP is going to be sort of the biggest news to come out of crypto. And from all the things that we're hearing is that they're just kind of just negotiating a deal right now. So it's really not a situation where it's not going to be worked out, but it's more of the pomp and circumstance. You know, the government has to, or in this case, the SEC has to show the government or the people themselves that we're doing everything we can to protect you. And ultimately, once you get into the crypto field, you'll understand they really have no control on protecting you. You know, and that's really something that have a lot of the people that I know that are big investors that have a lot of money to invest. That's their fear right there, is that it's just decentralized. And for me, that's what makes me go to crypto. But I do see those who have already accumulated millions saying, okay, I don't know about that because I have it and I'm not willing to take a risk to lose it on something that, you know, I could just throw it in a stock or, you know, something else, real estate property, and make those ends. So my ultimate goal is, you know what, I'm just going to show them. So I'm taking a 4-year, you know, I'm taking this 4-year cycle. I'm going to take this run. I'm tracking kind of everything I do. I have spreadsheets and whatnot. And then I'm just going to show people that, you know, okay, I came in with this amount. This is what I did over the course of the time. Like every day I sit and take track of everything, every asset I have, every trade I make, which is going to help me come tax season. But it's more to kind of be able to show people, because honestly, you know, until people see me driving a damn Lamborghini that I could rent off Turo, they don't think I have nothing. You know, for me, which is the most secure, the most secure part of crypto to me, because the people I know who have money usually have it in property. They may have a few cars and things or not, but what you'll start to see, and I can guarantee this year's Forbes list, you're going to see at least 5 people that are in crypto. And every year thereafter, it's just going to start being dominated by people who are in crypto. And these are going to be 18-year-old kids. And you're going to be like, my God. There was a young Black girl that just sold $1.6 million worth of NFTs that she made when she was 9 years old. And I mean, these are the stories that are just coming out. I told you before, Xavier, go to like Cointelegraph. A lot of people in crypto call it Cointelegraph because it's owned by one of the bigger cryptos, by one of the bigger assets. But they have some good stories and they keep your breath. But yeah, they were telling the story of this young Black girl. I assume one of her parents is probably a programmer or something that, you know, kind of gave her the idea of this stuff to do. But she was already an artist. She just got on her iPad, started drawing these little figures, and she then partnered with, and this is where I think her parents knew somebody, but then she partnered with the development team who took her drawings, put them in and minted them as an NFT, and she sold to this date, I think like $5.6 million worth of NFTs, of which she's kept about $1.6 million. Wow. You know, after paying her team and everybody else. So, and mind you, I think she's 11 years old now. Or 10 or 11, I believe it is. So when you kind of start looking at these things and you're hearing the guy just yesterday bought a house next to Snoop in the metaverse for like 4.4 or about $500,000. And this is just to live next door to Snoop in virtual reality. It's not really to live next door to him, you know, where you'll be able to see him. But these are kind of the things you're just saying. And that property that he bought, I think, was $800 last year. So, I mean, go figure. You just got to start getting in the space. And I just tell people all the time, find something you like. Like in this case, Carter, you're into investing, you're into things of that nature. Finance and crypto are going to be your thing. For people who are tax preparers, start learning crypto tax software, because that's going to be your clientele coming up over the next 20 to 30 years. people that are in the real estate. Right now, you can do smart contracts and do proper. You can buy and sell property with smart contracts through crypto, and which eliminates all that the extra overhead that comes with dealing with loan brokers, dealing with the real estate agent. So you can. This is almost a direct to seller. You know, I come to you. You're selling a house. We go online. We go through this app. We create a smart contract, and I have the property. You do have to sign over the deeds and things of that nature, so those will still take place, but in all essence, the financial part of it is taken care of through a smart contract. So this field, along with solar, and I'm biased, I work in solar as well, but if you can get into these, renewable energy and cryptocurrency are going to be the leading industries in this country over the next 20 to 30 years. And I have no doubt, you know, I'm telling my son, he's going to school, he wants to be a professor, drop that, go here, drop it right now. You know, you can get back to all the stuff you love doing once you have the money to do that. But for right now, this is where you need to be looking, because these are the industries that are just taking off. And I'm tired of us always being last to those lines.
Yeah, me too. So, you know, my standard question every month is, you know, what can those of us who have about $200 sitting around, what should we invest in to make the biggest profit in, say, the next 3 to 6 months?
So at this point, if you recall, we kind of had that conversation last time, is if it's less money, we have to look for sort of lower cost assets or lower market cap, what we call low cap assets. If you have more money and longer times, you're actually going to start looking at some of the top 20 assets, and then you know you're going to put a little bit more investment into it. So for $200, let me just ask you, what would be a good return on $200 over 6 months to you?
Well, last month we did 1,000. Let's see. This month, let's do 15.
So 5x.
You said what?
Okay, so you want to take $200 to $1,500 in 6 months.
Yep.
So I definitely have to start looking really in the weeds there, because you know we're taking us to, and you said 1,500. Yeah, that's almost a 10x. So we're looking for more like a star, or actually no, you know what would be a great investment, and I keep probably running this one past you, but we do realize, or are you familiar with they're changing the Staples Center? They just changed the naming rights to the Staples Center in Los Angeles.
Yeah, they did, like crypto.com or something like that.
Exactly. So
crypto.com.
right. So they have an asset that it's their native token. So each sort of exchange, they have their native token. So in this case, crypto.com's native token is CRO. And currently CRO is tracing at about 56 cents. Now, if you recall, when that news was mentioned that they were going to change the name, it hit its all-time high, and that was 97 cents. So when I look at all things considered, I know CRO is about to be released on December 25th this year. So Christmas Day is when they're going to have that final release. You know, they're going to unveil the sign and all these things. I would hop into a CRO right now at 56 cents, and I can almost guarantee it's going to track over that dollar. And that would be this month. That would become Christmas Day.
Oh,
but I would also have, I'd also have a stop where once it gets to because I currently see the all-time high at 97 cents. So I would say if it gets to about $1.07, I'm going to start taking profit off of that. And this is, you know, my $200 that I just put in today. And let's say it gets to $1.07. So I've doubled that to 400. And the reason I'm going to do that is because now I'm going to start breaking this down. So it's damn near impossible, Xavier, to take that 200 and make it $1,500, but I can do it through steps like this, where I'm going to take a 2-week investment into CRO, then I'm going to hop out that, take that $400. Now I'm going to hop into something even smaller like a SHIB, because Shiba Inu, well, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with. I believe MasterCard started accepting payments. Newegg, similar to Amazon online, they sell a lot of electronic products. They just started taking SHIB as a form of payment. So I'm going to hop into something like that. So I'll take that $400. Right now, SHIB is tracing at about 30% under its average. So I can take that, I can double that. So I would take about 3 moves from now, from a CRO to a SHIB, and then I take that final step. So I'd probably take about, if I can double that 4 to 8, that 8 to 16 will be actually easier because now I have more to put into it. And then finally, I'd probably, I can't say right now which asset I'd take, but those would be the two I'd start with. CRO being number one, because we know they're going to get released. So we're buying the rumor now. Everything's quiet, 56 cents. But come Christmas Day, you watch how much information you see. You're going to see crypto during that game that they're playing that day. They're going to have commercials all the time. So all this is going to do is start making people, well, what is CRO? So now people are going to start pouring in to buy CRO, and that's when you take your profit. And when I say take profit, I'm just taking 10% off the top. It doubles again, I'm taking 10% off the top. It doubles again, I'm taking 10% off the top.
So I got a new question for you. Go ahead. I didn't want to.
No, I was just saying, and then I just continue on that trend. But whenever you're in a position, and that was something I did want to show you, especially like with ADA. There's an old saying, and I don't know, Carter, if they use it much in the finance you do. I'm pretty sure, but when in doubt, it's time to zoom out. When I zoomed out on ADA, it looks like it's going straight up. But when I'm looking at a 1 month or 2 or 6 month, it looks like it's kind of just trading sideways. Zoom out of some of your assets. Start looking at where you buy in and start having a plan for that point. Because once you start zooming out, what you'll notice is all of these assets are tracing up.
Okay.
It's just where you're buying in at, and you're normally buying in when you hear everyone else is excited about it. Stop waiting for them to get excited, get in early, and then now you make profit off of their excitement.
Okay, that makes sense. So my new question is going to be, what is the best investment on the board right now? So what amount of money would you need to have, and what would you put it in, and how long would it take?
For me, my best long-term investment is Cardano. How long is it going to take for its ecosystem to fully take place? Between 4 and 8 years. Now, right now, something I say, okay, what will be ready that I can guarantee probably won't take that 8, but I can do it in 4, is that Binance token. BNB is one of the best performing, is what they call exchange native tokens that there is. I mean, this thing has literally traced up in just this year. I think it's gone from like $80 and it's trading sideways at about $600 now, ready to basically skyrocket. So I can see Binance token trading sideways at about $2,000 this point next year at the least. And the reason is Binance is the largest exchange in the world. We here in America, we're familiar with Coinbase and we think that's large. Well, Binance is almost 100 times as large as that, as far as the assets that it has. I think they're close to about 40% of the entire market. And with that said, they have stability. Now, will that stability last in the United States? Personally, I don't care. If you're one trying to take profits in America, that may be something you look at, but I don't even have those plans. I'm not taking real profit for 8 to 12 years. So I won't be here when it's time to start taking profit. But if that's the case, then that would be the only thing I would keep people from banking their long-term history on Binance is that they have a run-in with the U.S. and they're going to go through the same thing XRP is going through with the SEC. But they can maintain themselves without one American investing in them because they have everyone else in the world. So it's kind of like Nike and Adidas. Nike's great here, Adidas is great around the world. You pick. And I personally would prefer to own Adidas. I like my Jordans, I'll still go buy some, but if I'm owning something, I prefer to own Adidas.
Okay, my daughter loves Adidas and I'm a Nike girl, but I know you have some information that you plan to share anyway, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah, so what I had started planning out for this show was kind of just bringing up some of the information, and I dabbled in a couple of them today when I mentioned the young lady who was 9 years old and she drew up her first NFTs. But let's just kind of go backwards on a close glance into the market. We began the month of December where everyone was very bullish. Everyone seemed to think, you know what, this is the month. Come December, they're all targeting about the third week of December is when everyone expected Bitcoin to top $100,000. Now, as we know in crypto, based on history, whenever Bitcoin sort of tracks in that what we call a parabolic fashion where it's going to the moon, everything else sort of waits a moment. And that's because what happens is when Bitcoin takes off and goes to $100,000, every person that's investing is going to start selling all their other assets so they can buy Bitcoin. And all that money is going to come out. All of these other small coins, ADA may drop, like all of these assets that you see are going to drop because everybody's now running to get into Bitcoin. Well, then there's the effect that Bitcoin is going to drop. Well, then what happens is all that money comes back out of Bitcoin. Everybody, oh, I made my profit off Bitcoin. Let me take, because I have a few people who are in under 50,000 for Bitcoin. So they say when I hit 100,000, I'm definitely taking real profit. So I'm thinking more or less that's a huge target for about 50% of Bitcoin holders. It's like that's the peak for them is what they're considering. So once that happens is all the money comes into Bitcoin, then it's going to come flushing right back into the market. So what I'm starting to prepare some of my loved ones and my family members is start keeping an eye on that, because what we're not going to do is we're not going to even take advantage of that Bitcoin bull rush. We personally, I've missed that. And so what we're going to do though is we're going to accumulate enough of these other smaller coins so that come that next Bitcoin cycle, we're going to really try to target getting between 1 and 5 Bitcoins. But it's going to be, because obviously it's going to hit about 100,000. It's going to retrace down here about 50,000. I'm predicting, and that's when we're going to use all that profit we made from these smaller coins to hop back into Bitcoin. But everyone must be prepared because this bull market is not over. And I want to stress to everyone that between now and the end of the year, if you're in the crypto space, you don't need to have any plans, because you need to be tracking the fact that when Bitcoin makes that parabolic run, you need to be prepared to come catch the money that's falling out when it comes back down. And to do so right now is a great time for everyone. I definitely tell people you really don't want to sell, because the only way for you to lose money investing is if you sell out less than what you bought in. So if you're in the red, I would just go ahead and say, make a decision that that's going to be an asset you're going to keep with until the next cycle. So that's your 4-year plan. But for everything else that you have and you're ready to invest in, you need to start moving your fiat currency over to stable coins within crypto. And to do so, as an example, I know Coinbase is the largest crypto exchange in the United States. That's the equivalent of going into the Coinbase app and buying USD, buying USDT. These are all assets. USDT is Tether, USDC is a stable coin, USD is Coinbase's stable coin. So they're all basically pegged to the dollar. They're the equivalent of a dollar. So you're going to take anything that you plan to put into this run. Okay, I have $200. I'm going to go on Coinbase and use my use my bank account to put that $200. I'm going to buy stable coins. Now, what I'm going to do with those stable coins is I'm going to sit those stable coins on the side. I'm not going to buy anything right now. I'm going to prepare and start setting up my charts so that when I have the asset that I want to buy, that money's ready. Because when this run starts to hit, these exchanges start going down. We've seen it with Robinhood over at GameStop. We've seen it with eToro had an issue. All of the apps, once everyone goes on and starts trying to take profit and move, you're not going to be able to access them. So what you can do though, is you can start setting up your buys and your stop losses before that. And if you have questions on do that, I can't really go into that now, but if you join our Run BTC group, we're actually going to do, not this weekend, but next weekend, we're going to show you an example of how to go into KuCoin, which is one of the larger exchanges we use that we leverage trade on, but we're going to walk through an example. Now, KuCoin won't look like every other exchange, but you'll be able to get the gist of what we're doing and how to set that up. But you have to be prepared for this, and you have to have these trades and orders in place so that the exchange just runs them through their algorithm. You cannot be hitting send and okay at that point, because the exchanges, we just have to understand our exchanges, the activity that people want to do doesn't match the capabilities of our networks currently. And that's why we're moving to 5Gs and all these other different forms of networking, because what people are starting to see now is that the bandwidth that crypto is starting to take up when parabolic runs take place, it could almost shut down the country. But keep in mind, I think only 5% of the world is currently in crypto, and it's growing at a faster pace than the internet. So come 20, 30% of the world into crypto, yeah, overall. A lot of these people, and it seems like there's less people, but the reality is there's just a bunch of rich people that are really into crypto right now. And we're trying to get in and be that buffer, because we're telling you this will be the largest wealth transfer in the history of mankind. And if you don't get in, you may be left here on Earth when they decide to move to Mars.
Yeah, they're planning that too.
But right now in the market, there's blood all over the streets, and I haven't even slept over the last 8 hours. I've been up all night just buying. I'm preparing myself. And there is a downfall to that preparation, because there are some that are saying that this may be the end. And for me, it wouldn't hurt me, because again, I'm 12 years out. So even if it drops lower than what I bought in at, by that 8 and 12 years, it will have surpassed that 10 times. So that's the difference. And yeah, that's the market. People are sad today. And I just want to get our listeners and people who are investing to start changing that narrative. When the market looks bad, that's when you should feel good if you're not in the market. Now, obviously, if you're in it and it takes a downturn, that's a part of investing. But if you're trying to get into investing and you hear the stock market's down, it's at the lowest it's been in 8 years, that should be something in your mind that triggers you to say, this is a perfect opportunity to get into that market. Houses are down the most in the last 10 years. You know what? I wasn't looking for one, but it may be time to buy a house right now. You know, we have to start changing how we think and see money. We're spenders, and I can't be that person anymore. I have to start creating that foundation for the next generation of our family. And it seems to be going well, man. My children are loving it. They are fully, and it's like kids, they're fully dove into crypto. It's not hard to tell a kid. I can probably tell you a lot of these adults' children, they probably actually own crypto without you even knowing, and they're using it. But that's just kind of how kids do. When we got on Facebook, they jumped to Instagram. When we get on there, they jump to Twitch. And like they leave what we do, so because they want to sort of just live in their own world. And our goal now as investors is just start following their worlds. Where are they going next? Because that's what's going to take off. And
That's true.
Shiba Inu, as an example, is now being utilized in the video games. And you know, I don't play Minecraft or Roblox and all this type of stuff, but the kids do, and they're transacting through this. There's probably children making money playing games and they don't even realize it. But that's neither here nor there. They'll eventually be able to cash out. And so I just don't want to be that adult that's sitting around watching 18-year-olds
Right.
make it, and I had an opportunity to be there. It's like, my Lord. And they're getting younger and younger. This 9-year-old was the youngest I've seen so far, but it's like they're getting younger and younger.
Okay, so there's a big thing coming up with Bitcoin, and we should be buying stable coins. Now, what is a stable coin exactly? Is that what it's called, stable coin?
Well, it's not necessarily you should be buying stable coin. You're basically just exchanging. So you've come into a new country, you're exchanging your US dollars. Now I need an asset or a currency I can use in this exchange or world. So that's what you're doing. A stable coin is just an asset that's pegged to the dollar. So the way we see a dollar is that, without, let's take inflation out, but the dollar is a dollar. So today the dollar is a dollar, tomorrow the dollar is a dollar. Same with crypto. So what a lot of people do is when they go ahead and make all these huge gains, they then take their profit and leave it in a stable coin, because now they can't lose money. Stable coins, they vary, but they only fluctuate 5%. So the lowest a stable coin could be is 95 cents. The highest it could be is $1.05. What you'll notice is that it sort of follows the supply and demand. So when it's not being bought, it's usually at a lower rate. When it's being overbought, it's at a higher rate. And what you'll notice especially is when the market's taking off, it's definitely overbought. And so this is why I'm telling you now, get it cheaper. Because honestly, you could just buy $1 million in stable coin, and then when Bitcoin takes off, it's gonna pop that 5%, and you'll be able to pull that off of just stable coin. You're not even in Bitcoin. But once stable coin gets $1.05, you sell off that stable coin, and now you got that 5%.
That's interesting.
You know, so there's people that say like but you need real money to kind of make profit off of a stable coin.
Right.
You know, you can't $200, you won't even see that.
My little $200 ain't worth it.
Not for that type of move, but there's plays for people with $200, and we've seen them. Guy put $8,000 in Shiba Inu, 400 days ago. It's now worth $53 billion.
Man.
It's just about being patient,
And
finding a
so,
good project, supporting that project, using the asset. Oh, you guys are accepted with Newegg. I don't need shit off of Newegg, but let me go buy something using She to show Newegg, hey, this is a great way for you guys to keep doing business. So I'm going to use it. And that's the key, is use case. Facebook wasn't doing it like it was when it was just on college campuses, but when it was exposed to the public and people started to see how they could use it, now look at it. So it's really about getting in this sort of field and using these tools, because there's so much profit and there's so much great use case. Like I explained last week, there should be no reason I can't hand you. I want to give Xavier $100. Well, I got to go to a bank. They want to take a cut. It takes time, things of that nature. With crypto, I want to send Xavier money. I go right in my wallet. Xavier, which asset would you prefer? Okay, you want $100 in Bitcoin on my Cash App? There's $100 in Bitcoin.
it's
Xavier
funny because I was
sent her
just,
100. Xavier forgot though that I sent her $100 yesterday. She looks back 2 days later. Wait a second, my $100 is now $110.
oh,
There's benefit to this, but you have to have seen it to understand it. And I would just say try it. I mean, people that don't understand crypto, you have Cash App, just start buying and selling Bitcoin. Just use that one.
I was just about to say,
pay me in Bitcoin.
I was just on Cash App because someone is sending me a Cash App, as a matter of fact, and I was trying to see what he sent. But on Cash App, when you look under the dollar thing, it now has Bitcoin or US dollar. You could choose which one.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. I also wanted to.
We have stocks as well.
We have a few people on the call listening to you. I wanted to open up to see if anybody else had any questions, since we're about 15 minutes out from 2 o'clock. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question now.
Yeah, questions, or tell us about some assets you're in. Tell us, some of the things that you like about crypto. I like just having conversations about crypto, so I'm open.
Okay.
And if not, maybe email them in. We can come back and circle back around to them next week.
All right. So, you mentioned your group. Tell them about the group again, so everybody knows where they could get this type of information on a regular basis.
Well, we're on Facebook. We're the Run BTC group. We've already trademarked that and whatnot. We're doing getting all of our legals in order so that we can do this the right way. But yes, we're the Run BTC group. We opened up as a group that was designed to provide information to minorities, Blacks, and Latinos, but we have people of all walks of life that have joined that group, and we're open to allow others to join. We just don't want people coming in there and being condescending towards our members, because there's a lot of questions that are involved, and quite honestly, there's things that have made us feel stupid, and we feel like we're pretty intelligent. But we just create a space for people to come. We go in daily, try to provide information. We give some updates on different products and different assets that we are investing in. We try to show trends. The key that I think really helped me was starting to understand the technical analysis side of crypto. Before, I was kind of just jumping in and buying things because they looked good, they sounded good. The white papers read great to me. I was like, yeah, that's a great technology. But what I started to learn is that a lot of these companies are just doing this for fluff. And so what we said is, okay, we're going to create a group and we're going to just start leaving it open to the public. We're going to let people come in. Now, mind you can't spread spam and whatnot, but that's the only thing we don't allow. And what we found is that it's just been sort of a great group that people love coming into. We're almost at 500 members, and our goal was then to we wanted to be prepared so that we can just take off with we're going to have a weekly show. We're actually going to do a radio show as well. We're working on some paperwork right now. So you just heard live on Xavier's show that we're actually going to be doing a radio show as well. I have a cousin that's actually just finishing setting up a radio station, an internet station. So we'll be on that platform. I don't have all that information yet, but we have big goals for the group, and we just want to be there for people to help learn from others, because we do have some other gentlemen. We have some programmers that are in the group. We have some folks that have been developers on different assets. So we have some very smart, intelligent people who then also go in and bring up their information as far as assets they see. Because what we've learned, we have about 3 people that run the group. us three can probably cover about 20% of the crypto market. So we're actually going to be looking to hire a few people to start doing research for us. We may get some interns. I know Howard has a program now, a blockchain program. So we're going to start looking for some interns that we can hire and have work remotely to start doing some of this research. Because when I tell you crypto, and I'm sure the other gentleman, I think it was Howard, can tell you, like just studying and investing is like a full-time job in itself. So I work a normal 9 to 5, and then I come home and work another 9 to 5 dealing with crypto. And it's lucrative, but I can tell you, it can wreck the brain over a while. You know, you start seeing things cross-eyed.
So do you plan to create something like an investment club or group as well?
Well, yes, we do. Can't really go into the details of that, but we're actually working on getting a fund set up that we're going to have for the group as well. We're going to have about 3 levels to a fund. It's going to be more of a beginner's fund, an advanced fund, and a big Willie fund for people who actually want to, you know, go out less. Because what we are seeing is that some of the investments we'd like to make, we just don't have the resources to sort of capitalize on those. And what I mean when I say that is we're actually going to start partnering up with some of these assets and help develop their software. So yeah, we have big plans for the group. And that's what we'd eventually like to do, is that we'd like to eventually develop our own project, but we want to work with others first, learn how it's done, understand the process, and then get there. So we're really in no rush. That's more of a 4-year plan there. But within the next 4 years, you're going to see big things from our group, and we'd like everyone to come along with the ride with us.
Well, I'm coming. Me and my 200.
Yeah, I believe you. I mean, yeah, and believe me, you know, when I tell people, that's the same thing I say. You know, we're speaking about crypto. We shouldn't be on these calls or in our pages. We don't really talk about what we're having. I don't sit here and say, oh, I put $20,000. I speak in terms of percentages and things like that. Okay, I did a 10% gain or something like that, because we understand everyone doesn't have the same thing, and we don't want to sort of push people away who say, you know what, well, I don't have that. This isn't for me. This is for everyone. And believe me, this is from, we need to get our children involved in this. We need to start showing them how to send and receive money. You know, a lot of these children have Cash App because their parents like to send them money, or they use the bank account. And so maybe start sending your kids, you know, they get $50 a week in allowance, send them 25 in cash, 25 in Bitcoin, you know, but start letting them see and understand how it's happened, because, you know, we may not be the ones that actually end up being the bigger users, but they are. And the sooner they get involved with it, you're going to have more 9-year-old NFT art creators and developers. There's going to be some kid that's going to create a token or coin, and it's just going to be like, wow, it's amazing. I'm just so excited about the future that crypto brings.
I'm excited about it too. And this has been a great show as usual. So you got about 3 minutes. What are your final words?
Right now, I think that the biggest thing is sort of understanding where we are. All right, we're at the point where we're about to take a huge ride straight up. And like I mentioned before, you have to be prepared for that, because with the way things are set up now, and it'll get better over time, but we just don't have the means for everyone to get rich quick right now. And that's only because these things all happen. Everyone's kind of in Bitcoin. So everyone's going to go on the same exchange and try to sell their Bitcoin when it goes up, and it's just going to crash. So I want people to be prepared for that now. So in order to help prevent that, it's in your best interest to start putting stop losses on all your projects. If you're unfamiliar with how to do so, come over to the group, send us a message, and we'll be glad to walk you through that. It's not difficult, but there are things you want to make sure you select and check, just so that you're not you're not putting yourself in a position. Because if you're not familiar with a market or limit sale is, then you may need to come to us. And then that's not, I have to look it up. Now, fortunately for me, I worked in finance for about 17 years in IT, but I worked closely along traders. So they were just kind of teaching me things as I went along, and it helped to have that understanding. But we do have to finish with this, Xavier. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do tell people what I do. And if your choice is to follow my path or follow the path of the group, that's great. But we have to have an understanding that this is not financial advice. This is basically just a glimpse into the world of what a new or what people moving into the crypto space are doing. And there's just so much for everyone. You got kids that love gaming. Gaming is huge right now, crypto. You got kids that love drawing and building. NFTs are the way to go. If they are into music, they can use an NFT to sell their music, and they will receive direct profits from it for the rest of their life. There's no more record labels involved. There's no more of any of that, the artist being broke and the label being rich. Now the tides are shifting. We just have to be able to understand it and ride along that wave. So again, come over to the group, Run BTC group itself. There's two hashtags that you can look up and you'll be able to find it. It'll say it's a minority group for Blacks and Latinos, but if you're not either, you're still welcome to join us. But again, we just ask that, there's no spam, no FUD in the group. We're trying to keep it calm because a lot of these groups turn into a bunch of posts and spam, and it becomes unreadable at a certain point. So we're very on top of that, and that's the only reason we've had to kick a few people out. Is because they're spamming us ridiculously. So, but other than that, yes, prepare yourself. We want to be prepared for the run, get our money into stable coins if we're trying to get back in. And if you even need help doing that, come on over to Run BTC group. We'll be glad to assist you.
All right. And so your final words on what I'm supposed to do with my ADA, I just got to sit on it now?
I would forget you even had for about 4 years. How old is your youngest grandbaby?
My youngest one will be 2, but I have one due in a few weeks.
So prepare for when she gets in first grade, start looking back at ADA. And thank me later.
Okay, I was just
thank me later. Thank me later.
Thank you later.
Gotta be patient. Nas didn't get that 100 million in Coinbase for sitting up. He put $5 million in the Coinbase 7 years ago. Sat up. He was watching it go up and down, and then woe behold, somebody came and bought him, and guess what he cashed out with? Off of $5 million, got 100 million or more.
I guess I might as well put it in my grandson's name. I'll be like, okay, when you start first.
And that's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. I have wallets for each of our grandchildren. I have a wallet for each of our kids. So as I pull profit, I just distribute it to them evenly.
Oh, that is so
They don't even know they have it because they're not going to watch this show. These kids ain't listen to radio, so I'm not
right. Yeah, I think I might actually.
They won't even know what they have.
Because I got the 3 boys, and I think I'm supposed to be having another girl. I got my oldest granddaughter, and then I think I'm about to have the youngest is going to be a girl too, and then the 3 boys are in the middle. So I guess I'll just start little wallets for them so that they can have something from Grammy when they,
Yeah. I'm 188 now and just let it sit. Or, it doesn't have to be 88 specifically, but, get them start getting them some things and look to things that are going to be long lasting, for these things like that, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, it should be a top 10 coin. If it's for your grandchildren, for when they grow up or go to college, you need to be definitely within the top 20 token.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a thing. And it's only because for more of a security purpose, you're not going to make as much, but you can almost guarantee it'll be there.
And Cardano is one of those top 10?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're going to look back on Cardano. Just look back on Bitcoin. We were talking 2009. We're talking $5.
I know. I have a friend that got in when it was in 2009. He got in, and he was telling me about it in like 2015. And I was like, this dude is crazy.
I have a cousin to this day. He's been kicking himself because he had a client that wanted to pay him in Bitcoin like 4 years ago. And he's like, nope. Even though he saw ATMs, Vegas has kind of quietly been a crypto city. They've had ATMs for Bitcoin and everything at least 5 years now. So there are certain cities, if you're in Miami, if you're in Vegas, if you're in, and there's one other, New York, those are going to be the top crypto cities. We're hoping LA is the 4th on that list, but for right now, if you're in New York, Miami, or Vegas, you're in a perfect position to be involved in crypto. A casino just opened up, the Resort World out in Vegas. They accept crypto as a form of payment. So they're going to get your money one way or the other. I guess soon we'll take Apple stock.
All right, Ron. Well, thank you very much. You had a great show as usual. And I am going to close us out now. Today is December 10th. If you are listening to a replay of this show, be sure and catch the live shows on Mondays from 7 to 9 a.m., Thursdays and Fridays from 12 to 2. And I would like to know who you know in Chicago that always knows what events are going on. Did a name come to mind? If so, please connect me to them. I need someone to do the What's Hot segment for Chicago. We have someone for Chocolate City. I need someone for Chicago. If you are a promoter in Chicago and would like to zoom in on Thursdays to promote your upcoming events or shows, please visit my Facebook page, Xavier Fox, to get Zoom information. Visit my YouTube channel, Xavier Fox Media, and click subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming podcasts, and you can watch my talk shows and podcasts you've not seen yet. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn as Xavier Fox. That's X-A-V as in Victor, I-A-F-O-X, Xavier Fox. My book, The Men in My Life and What I've Learned, is available on Amazon in Kindle format and paperback. You can also purchase an autographed copy on my website, xavierfox.com. Be sure and visit my website for information of all upcoming shows and events, as well as merchandise such as t-shirts and coffee mugs. I am signing out till the Monday morning talk from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll come back and get snatched with Danita. She's going to be talking to us about shaping garments and how to choose the right one. And my special guest, Adam Jackson of Aladurum Cigars, and I know I probably said that wrong, but he's going to join us. So until then, stay safe and be prosperous, and I'm out.